Part 338. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3371. Husband is amazing. That's an artifact. I don't know what the artifact looks like. Husband even got the artifact. Should we continue to break through? Is it possible to come out of it now? Xiao Liyulai blinked her eyes, with a look of anticipation on her face, and then she couldn't help but glance at the entrance, but unfortunately she didn't see anyone. This is not a good thing. Lu Jiyi sighed, then couldn't help shaking her head slightly. Not a good thing. Isn't it good to get the artifact? Lu Jiyi. Don't you wish that your husband can get nothing? Bad woman. Xiao Liyulai held her mouth shut, then hummed and chirped. What nonsense are you talking about? Lu Jiyi rolled her eyes, then curled her lips angrily. Of course I hope that my husband can win the battle, and I wish that my husband can gather all the treasures in the world. But the people of Chu are innocent and guilty of pregnant jade. The treasures that my husband got before are enough to tempt these people, not to mention the artifacts that my husband has now. Even if the people around you don't care about it, but we can't stay in this disaster God's underground palace forever, nor can we stay in the real God's cave forever. Sooner or later, I will go out. Call. This is a genuine artifact. Don't those demigods guarding outside really covet it? At that time, what if they all focus on the husband? Could Deputy Palace Master Shui Wanren alone be able to withstand all the pressure? At that time, how should I deal with myself? Lu Jiyi sighed while talking. At this moment, there are more and more thoughts in my mind, and I can't help but feel emotional again and again. Many things have a very clear idea. Jiyi is right. We always have to plan ahead. If you don't care about it at all, it is very likely to bring disaster to your husband. Although my father will try his best to protect my husband, but my father is weak after all. At that time, if the major forces know that your husband has a divine weapon, they will most likely unite. At that time, it will really be over. The real danger is not in this true God cave, but in the outside world. Xiangfei wriggled her lips, full of worry at the moment. She even thought that she might as well live with her husband in this real God's cave, so as not to have to deal with those dangers. Although the three women seemed very worried, but generally speaking, there was nothing they could do at the moment. Things have happened. A gathering place for cultivators from the Dark Academy. Fang Fan. Shit, luck is really good. The artifact must be mine. At all costs, snatch the artifact. Hey, the master of the Dark Academy, couldn't clenched his teeth tightly. He could hear his teeth trembling slightly at this moment, but he didn't take it seriously at all. At this moment, he only had the artifact in his heart. A treasure like an artifact must be his. It can only be his. Only when you have such an idea deep in your heart can you slowly burst out. So heartfelt, so true. Everything. Let's break out. The various thoughts in my mind became inexplicably clearer. However, because of the fact that he ran away alone before, he has a bad reputation among the practitioners of the Dark Academy. But relying on his own strength is not Fang Fan's opponent. He must unite with the practitioners of these dark schools to act together. He couldn't move his eyeballs, thinking from his heart. It's time to go crazy again. A gathering place for practitioners of Guangming Academy. Why? Why are the benefits all his? Why? I don't accept it. I don't accept it. What kind of bullshit rule is this? Garbage. Absolutely rubbish. I feel sick. My God. You're unfair. You're unfair. He is also a student of Guangming Academy. Why can Fang Fan get opportunities again and again? But I can't. Call. Fang Fan is just a first-year student, but I am the best among the fourth-year students. I am a sky-level student of Guangming Academy. I am also the captain of the fourth-year representative team of Guangming Academy. How am I worse than Fang Fan? Ah! Unwilling. Unwilling. Roaring, slowly followed by gathering. Lu Feng bit his lip tightly, clenched his fists very tightly, very tightly. He wished that all the treasures belonged to him, and all the benefits belonged to him. He has a lot of ambitions, but he is greedy for life and afraid of death, and his cultivation is rubbish. This is a real visionary. All kinds of thoughts are spinning in the brain, which seems quite real invisibly. After all, isn't that the case? As for the rest, naturally there is no need to say more, and there is no need to care about them at all. It's good to have this idea in your heart, and it's good to have all the feelings gathered together. I heard that brother Lu Feng and that Fang Fan are at odds with each other. I wonder if you can form an alliance with me. Lu Feng's body trembled, and he suddenly received a sound transmission. He frowned and glanced into the distance, only to see the blood-born Haofu, the master of the dark school, looking at him with a smile. Lu Feng's expression was complicated. It took off. They all took off. Why? Now I can't catch up with you at all. One wrong step, one wrong step. If I had been a little more determined back then, I should be sharing the joy of obtaining the artifact with junior brother Fang Fan and the others. Pity. Missed. Speaking of which, in terms of unique vision, I am indeed not as good as President Chu Sisi of the Guangming Society. And Zhuoqiu Yao, this kid also sees farther than I do. After all, I am too small. Sun Han, the president of Tiandao Society of Guangming Academy, murmured to himself at this moment, thinking to himself, couldn't help but look at the bronze door in front of him, and then shook his head helplessly. This wave of cars, anyway, can't get on. Since he chose to be plain at the beginning, the following days will naturally be as plain as water. And the road Fang Fan and the others took was a wild, explosive, and exciting road. Disaster God's underground palace, the exit on the 8th floor, and the entrance on the 9th floor. Artifact. Is this an artifact? Fang Fan looked at the two small hammers about 10 centimeters in the palm of his hand, subconsciously fell into deep thought. The style of this artifact is a bit too high. This looks like a toy. The God of Disaster hammer. Can this thing be enlarged? Bai Piao stepped forward to take a closer look, and also looked quite surprised. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3372. This small hammer, which is only 10 centimeters, looks too small. Is it time to hit people with this little hammer? Artifact, that's it? Whoosh. Two calamity hammers suddenly floated in front of Fang Fan's eyes, and then smashed straight towards Fang Fan. The corner of Fang Fan's mouth twitched, and the black lines on his forehead became more and more at this moment. Good guy. Can you stop for a little while? That's it? Damn it, isn't this slapping my face? Just as Fang Fan was thinking, the two disaster hammers suddenly smashed down on Fang Fan's head. Fang Fan's complexion changed slightly. Things are going crazy. What the hell is this? It's so weird. It's far from what I expected. It's not the same as imagined. Fang Fan licked his lips, his eyes couldn't help but become erratic, and then he tried his best to avoid the attack of the disaster hammer. But the hammer of the God of Disaster seems to have activated the comprehensive positioning system, and it has been surrounding Fang Fan. That feeling is really about to burst. Fang Fan really wants to swear at this moment. What the hell, is it a conspiracy? Fang Fan gritted his teeth, his facial expression gradually became gloomy, the current situation was not quite right. Boom. The hammer of calamity suddenly sped up, and then left and right, respectively, made a hole in Fang Fan's head. The blood left behind in an instant. Fang Fan. Chu Ceci was the first to cry out, with endless panic showing on his face. Bai Piao and others who followed closely also realized something was wrong. Quick, take this hammer away. Whirring. This hammer is sucking blood from Fang Fan's head. It's over. This time it's really over. Fang Fan is not really cold, is he? Call the disaster god of the turtle sun, damn it. Leave such a big hole. It's agreed, it's a reward for the artifact. How can this F***ck be dead? On weekdays, Fang Fan and Bai Piao argue quite a lot with each other, but if it really comes to a critical moment, they can actually write comprehensively with each other. At this moment, their faces seem to have changed a little. A little carelessness, directly implicated in it. The situation has taken a turn for the worse. If this is not done well, it will really kill you. The risk factor has been fully improved. Bai Piao and the others wanted to touch the hammer of the god of disaster, and wanted to take it away, but before touching the hammer of the god of disaster, their bodies were automatically bounced away. Invisibly, there seems to be a strange force manipulating everything in front of me. Slowly, the in-depth oppression began, and then an infinite sense of panic arose in my heart. Roaring sound, one after another. At this moment, Fang Fan stood there in a daze, letting the blood in his head flow down slowly, appearing very numb. I don't know how long this process stopped, and Fang Fan doesn't know when he regained consciousness. At this moment, all he could see was the hammer of calamity jumping up and down in front of him. Besides that, there was the nervous expression on the faces of Bai Piao, Chu Ceci, and others. Call. Fang Fan gritted his teeth, then let out a mouthful of turbid air, and then hit his painful head again. What happened? Just now, I just remembered that the hammer of the calamity god was going to attack me. As for the others, I don't remember. Fang Fan frowned, his mind still seemed a little unclear at the moment. Cannot remember. Really don't remember. This is too strange. Fang Fan, just now, you scared me to death just now. This calamity hammer directly smashed your skull just now, and the blood in your brain was constantly flowing back and forth. Don't be too surprised at that scene. All in all, almost really cold. Fortunately, I saved my life in the end. Call. Fang Fan boy, this hammer is not a good thing, this ghost thing can actually devour the master, hurry, throw it away. Damn, what the hell is this, it's really, just looking at it makes my scalp tingle. Hey, if something happens to your kid, what will I do in the future? It would be too boring to live without you. What he said earlier was pretty good, but gradually, Bai Piao's expression became obscene, rubbing his hands together every now and then, his eyebrows were raised all over, and his expression became strange. This looks very sandy. Stop howling. Call. I know everything. I don't remember everything that happened just now. As for now, I seem to be able to control this hammer of god of disaster at will. Fang Fan squinted his eyes, and then opened his palms, followed by two 10-centimeter long hammers of calamity, which appeared in front of his eyes. Master, hammer is here. Owner. Suddenly, bursts of calling came from Fang Fan's mind, and Fang Fan raised his eyebrows involuntarily. Tool spirit? Fang Fan is not surprised by the existence of Qi Ling, for example, there is Qi Ling in Zhan Tian's sword. Generally, only those sharp weapons that have been tempered for millions or even tens of millions of years can produce weapon spirits. Of course, it is also possible that this weapon spirit was forcibly extracted by the refiner to infuse the souls of other creatures into the weapon. This kind of thing is also common. You hurt me just now. What the hell do you want to do? Fang Fan exhaled a breath of foul air, and while speaking, his thoughts were boiling, and the posture of gnashing his teeth was fully displayed at this moment. Slowly, the feeling is extremely deep. Do what? Master, Hammer didn't want to do anything. Hammer just wanted to recognize the Lord with a drop of blood earlier. Hammer can have any bad intentions. The voice of acting like a baby echoed in Fang Fan's mind. Naturally, it is impossible for Fang Fan to become intoxicated just because of a few words of acting like a baby. It's about his own safety, he needs to keep an eye on it. Fang Fan licked his lips, thinking to himself, his facial expression gradually became ferocious. Everything is in full swing. If you don't say anything, you will die. Fang Fan squinted his eyes, and at this moment, he had already moved his mind to throw the two disaster hammers into the small world of Shushan Pavilion, which is relatively safer. In every way, we must hold on. Ah! Master, don't be cruel, Hammer is so sad. Fang Fan. You are a humming weapon spirit, do you need so many dramas? If you don't do a good job, do you have to be a green tea whore? That's it? Fang Fan let out a foul breath, and there was no expression on his face at the moment. What else can this say? Wouldn't it be good to hammer to death? The rest are nothing. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3373. Fang Fan suddenly became murderous. Master, Hammer really wants to recognize the Lord with the Master's blood. Master, please don't hit Hammer like this. Hammer can help Master. Hammer can help Master kill enemies. Woo 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 woo. Immediately, a cry came, and Fang Fan's facial expression became more and more complicated. What the hell? I don't have an expression at this moment. Nothing. What about the rest? I can't say it. Hold on tight, okay. Fang Fan discovered a characteristic, that is, these spirits often like to pretend to be soft and innocent to win sympathy. The spirit of the Sky-Jan sword before was like this, and now the spirit of the hammer of God of Calamity is still like this. So, as an artifact, what use are you for? It's just that big. Fang Fan shrugged, then said indifferently. As long as you prove your own price, it is necessary to exist. As for the rest, nothing. Master, you only need to collide two hammers of God of Disaster to launch natural and man-made disasters on a specific target, so that in the following time, he will always be troubled by disasters. Theoretically speaking, Master, the more times you let the two hammers of calamity collide, the greater the enemy's disaster will be. You can launch natural and man-made disasters on a certain person, or you can launch natural disasters and man-made disasters on a group of people. However, but if a group attack is carried out, the power will be much smaller. The spirit of the hammer of calamity explained in a flustered manner. There is the most concise language to fully reveal one's own value. Fang Fan subconsciously narrowed his eyes at this moment, and his eyes gradually became erratic. Interesting, this looks very interesting. What a difference. Calamity hammer? Natural and man-made disasters? The collision of two calamity hammers can cause natural disasters and man-made disasters to others. Let others be unlucky? Listen, why are you so awkward? System, scan. Fang Fan pondered for a moment, then said directly. The self-explanation of the hammer of the god of disaster is somewhat broad and not very specific. Ding. Starting to scan. The hammer of the god of calamity has successfully dripped blood. It belongs to the host artifact and can perform a comprehensive scan. Full scan. Ding. The scan was successful. Name, Calamity Hammer. Appear. Level, Level 1 Artifact, Growth Artifact, Upgradable. With its own magic skills, Natural Disasters and Man-Made Disasters. Natural disasters and man-made disasters collide a pair of Calamity Hammers with each other, and launch an attack on a designated creature or group of creatures, causing this creature or group of creatures to continue to be unlucky for 1 hour, no cooldown time. Note, one collision of the Hammer of Calamity can exert the power of natural disasters and man-made disasters to 50%, 2 collisions can exert the power of natural disasters and man-made disasters to 100%, and 3 collisions can exert the power of natural disasters and man-made disasters up to 200%, and so on. Theoretically, the more collisions, the stronger the power, but it also depends on the opponent's level of cultivation. The introduction is very detailed. The specific introduction of the system is relatively clear. Anyway, the Calamity Hammer is very mysterious now. This is not the kind of weapon that can directly attack. After all, it is only 10 centimeters long, and it is not comfortable to hold. But at the critical moment, he can release the magical skill Natural Disaster and Man-Made Disaster by colliding 2 Calamity Hammers, making the opponent in an infinitely unlucky state. This is very weird. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes secretly, then nodded silently. It feels quite interesting now. In all aspects, it is quite unusual. Fang Fan boy, Fang Fan boy. Why don't you talk? Speak, speak. This. You're not moving, what's going on? Fang Fan boy, is there something wrong with you? Hiss, could it be this hammer again? This hammer took your soul away. Fang Fan, what's wrong with you? Bai Piao trembled her lips. While speaking, she couldn't help but widen her eyes. This looks so weird. Stop bragging. My brain is about to explode. Fang Fan's face was dark, and he complained from the side. Alive. Call. Scared me. Really are. Fang Fan boy, this is because you are not authentic, good guy. Since you are fine, why didn't you react at all? At that time, I was completely scared. I really thought something happened to you. Call. It's scary. Fang Fan boy, why are you still holding this hammer? Throw it away. Throw it away quickly. It's really, what a broken artifact. It caused so much trouble. Bai Piao curled his lips, then looked contemptuous, and then this guy actually reached out to snatch the disaster hammer from Fang Fan's hand. Under the mistake of yin and yang, the 2 hammers collided involuntarily. And then there was no more. There was a clang, and the sound was very crisp. Fang Fan could clearly feel a mysterious energy entering Bai Piao's body. Boom. Immediately when Bai Piao was walking on the road, he suddenly fell down. Really, it fell without warning. This, inexplicably feels a little weird. The things on the scene were revealed, and the mentality split instantly. Nothing. As for the rest, let's talk about a hammer. It's over, it's all over. What's the situation? The road doesn't seem to be very smooth. Bai Piao blinked her eyes. She was just moved and a little ignorant at the moment, but she didn't think about other aspects. He went on for 2 more. Boom. The body fell to the ground again. This. Fall again? Grass. The ground is uneven. What the hell? Bai Piao gritted her teeth, and then complained to the side, and then couldn't help but smashed the hammer in the air. My hand. Hiss, cramp. Damn, what's going on, what's going on? Why do things like this happen one after another? This is really wrong. Phew, there is definitely something tricky in it. What the hell is this place? Bai Biao gritted her teeth and couldn't help trembling her lips. At this moment, her ignorant eyes glanced around, unable to speak a few words. This luck is so bad. For it. Woo 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 woo. Oh oh oh. Suddenly, Bai Biao's body trembled again, tears could not help but flow down at this moment. The scene looked very scary. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3374. Brother Bai Biao. Ah this. What's the matter? What the hell is wrong with you? I'll hum it. You, why are you still crying? Don't do this. Good guy. Gish's eyes widened, and he couldn't help but gasp at this moment, his eyes turned away as he spoke. This is a bit different from what I imagined. The more you look at it, the more treacherous it becomes, the more you look at it, the more numb your scalp becomes. Feeling a bit overwhelmed at this moment. Woo, I bit my tongue. Cao. What kind of beast is this? Lying in a trough. Damn it. Depend on. What the hell is this place? Bai Biao gritted her teeth, her body trembled unnaturally at this moment, the sense of despair deep in her heart suddenly struck. Too difficult. I fell down several times when I was walking, and I got cramps when I played a circle, and now I bite my tongue when I talk. This. Damn thing. Grass. Damn it. What next? The other people around were all surprised, they couldn't help but look at Bai Biao at this moment, the curiosity on their faces was beyond words. As for Fang Fan, at this moment his eyes are on the god of disaster hammer. Just now, this guy Bai Biao accidentally caused the two disaster hammers to collide. Then a special energy entered Bai Biao's body. What happened immediately went smoothly. Some unlucky things happened to Bai Biao one after another. Is this the power of the Calamity Hammer? This is just the energy of one impact of the Calamity Hammer. If it hits 3 or 5 times. This power. Wouldn't it be a sudden death after taking 2 steps? Tisk. Interesting. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes secretly, and the smile on his face grew more and more. At this moment, he rubbed his hands subconsciously, and his mind was also taking off. Before, he really didn't pay much attention to the Hammer of Calamity, but now, it seems a little different. Really different. Interesting. Really interesting. Fang Fan secretly put away the disaster hammer. Just now when the god of disaster hammer made an impact, it used up some spiritual power in his body, but relatively speaking, it was only a small part of the spiritual power, which was nothing. This artifact is really interesting. Fang Fan thought to himself, then couldn't help but nodded slightly, with a smile on his face. Fang Fan boy, what are you laughing at? Good guy, you can't do this, can you? Yes. Absolutely. Hiss, so it's still the case. Fang Fan boy, how could you entrap me like this? Fang Fan boy, you are ungrateful. Boy Fang Fan, you broke my heart. The howling sounds gradually increased, and Bai Biao couldn't help but look up to the sky and sigh. From time to time, there will be a wave of comprehensive emotion. Needless to say about other things for the time being, this feeling is very real. Hee. It was you who accidentally touched the hammer of the god of disaster just now, which led to the subsequent incident. Well, speaking of it, it's your own fault. Fang Fan rolled his eyes, then curled his lips aside and said. In all aspects, isn't that the case? There is no need to think too much at all. Just hang on. To blame yourself. Ah this. Is it really the trick of the little hammer? Hiss. Boom. Bai Biao wanted to take 2 steps forward and get closer to get a better look at the hammer of calamity, but suddenly he staggered and fell down. This is getting more and more weird. Looking at the weirdness from multiple levels. This little hammer actually has such power. Grass. Damn it. Blood loss. Blood loss is over. Damn thing. Totally unlucky. I have already seen that this is not a good thing. This can actually bring bad luck to people. The hammer of the god of disaster, the hammer of the god of disaster, really lives up to its name. Where did all the cards go? Bai Biao let out a breath, and immediately felt deeply. Anyway, the desire to complain in his heart was very strong. After all, it's still the same thing. True and clear. I didn't expect the effect of this artifact to bring people bad luck. When I first saw such a small artifact, I felt something was wrong. It turned out to be like this. It's rather surprising. It's a pity that this is not a divine weapon for killing. If you can get a magic sword, it will be a real blood prophet. It's a pity indeed. Zhou Qiuyao licked his lips, then sighed from the side. Excalibur and Excalibur are good, but when it comes to weirdness, it's really not as good as this Calamity Hammer. This Calamity Hammer is equivalent to taking away a person's luck. Tisk, you can imagine, it's extraordinary. The mystery in it cannot be expressed in a few words. During the battle, if the opponent misses a good opportunity every time, then the defeat must be doomed. A battle with real swords and guns is actually not difficult in many cases, but this Calamity Hammer involves luck. Even for those true gods, I am afraid it is difficult to control luck. This god of disaster also took advantage of the priesthood, so he has this god of disaster hammer. If you really calculate it carefully, the value of this Calamity Hammer is more than millions of high-grade star cores. Chu Ceci's vision is still there, and while she was talking at the moment, the light in her eyes gathered in an all-round way. In fact, generally speaking, the meaning is still the same. Very real. Fang Fan, does this, the god of disaster hammer, already recognize you as master? The reason why the god of disaster hammer smashed your head was probably because of this. Chu Ceci squinted her eyes, and then asked tentatively from the side. In this regard, in fact, she is not very sure. After all, there is still a layer in between. Fang Fan nodded silently, then couldn't help but glance at Chu Ceci. This woman's associative ability is indeed extraordinary. From a certain level, she appears to be extremely wise. A comprehensive representative of wise women. To kill 3 birds with 1 stone, and appear very rational. The artifact recognizes its owner. Boy Fang Fan, you're taking off. Bai Biao exclaimed, and then said with emotion. But in an instant, his expression changed and he said, Boy Fang Fan, since this Calamity Hammer has already recognized its owner, then you should quickly get rid of my unlucky state. Now I have to bite my tongue when I say 2 words, and I have to fall when I walk 2 steps. It's too difficult for me. With a mournful face, Bai Biao couldn't help but chant along. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3375. Forward. Energy like this is irreversible. Once the energy is released, it's not so easy to get it back. Fang Fan murmured, then shrugged. In all aspects, isn't that the case? Nothing. Cao. What's the meaning? Is my humming life going to be ruined? It's nothing, it's all cool, right? It won't be like this in a while, will it? Don't be so cruel. Cao. My tongue was bitten again. Bai Biao burst into tears. What the hell kind of life is this? Life just can't be too hard. This day is really impossible. Don't worry, according to normal circumstances, the natural and man-made disasters released by the disaster hammer will only last for 1 hour. You'll be back to normal in an hour. Um. For now, you'd better bear with it. After all, this is the path you chose. Eat a ditch and gain wisdom. Fang Fan smiled, then nodded, and said. Bai Piao. Too difficult. At this moment, everyone was standing in front of the entrance of the 9th floor of the Calamity God's underground palace, seeming a little hesitant. The last layer, whether to break through or not. The zombies that appeared on the 8th floor of the Disaster God's underground palace were originally invincible, but in the end it was a coincidence that they were scared away with the serum card. But luck, can it really be maintained forever? The danger involved cannot be expressed in a few words. What if it's not zombies that appear this time, but more powerful demonized beasts? These demonized beasts are not afraid of serum cards. At that time, the scene will be more passive. If it really comes to that time, how should we deal with ourselves? They broke through the 8th floor of the Disaster God's underground palace, and they have already been rewarded with artifacts. Shouldn't they accept it as soon as they see it? The road ahead is bound to be confusing. If you are not careful, it is very likely to be unpredictable. Brother Fang Fan. Zhuo Yao pondered for a moment, then looked at Fang Fan with a hesitant expression. The others are all about the same, with different expressions. Now everyone feels that Fang Fan is the backbone, and they all hope that Fang Fan will make this decision. In my opinion, it is natural to continue down. Opportunities often come hand in hand with dangers. If there is no danger, where is the opportunity? Isn't this truth obvious? Fang Fan smiled calmly, and then the brilliance in his eyes grew more and more. The 8th floor rewards artifacts, and the 9th floor, according to the prompt of the strange voice before, seems to reward the inheritance of the Disaster God. As for what this inheritance is, it is still unknown. This kind of thing has always seemed very mysterious. You can inherit a weapon, you can also inherit a book of exercises, and you can directly inherit your position as a god of disaster. Everything is extremely mysterious. Calamity. Interesting. Then, go forward. I have broken through the first 8 floors, are you still afraid of this last trembling? Superior. At this moment, Chu Ceci is also a woman who does not give in to her eyebrows. While speaking, the whole body gathers energy, and the sound of breathing gradually becomes a lot faster. The thoughts are gathered here, and she still seems a little excited. Opportunity is here. Take off is pending. Now, what are you waiting for? Just sprint forward. Fang Fan squinted his eyes, and couldn't help casting a strange look at Chu Ceci. This woman is quite interesting. The opinions were unified in an instant, and then slowly moved forward. There is darkness in the passage. Ah! Bai Piao suddenly screamed, fell down again, and then fumbled a couple of hands on the ground. Looking closer, the corners of Bai Piao's mouth twitched immediately. Oh shit! 2 skulls. The ground is full of skeletons. This is still a human bone. Inside, how many people died? Bai Piao gritted his teeth, and the sound of breathing gradually became much faster. Etc. This bone. The last one is actually the bone of a demigod. There are also many false gods and quasi-god bones mixed in it. Tisk. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes, and slowly raised the corners of his mouth. This is, very interesting. It's all baby. In the outside world, let alone the bones of false gods and quasi-gods, even the bones of demigods are good things, and can be used to create demigod weapons. As for the bones of false gods and quasi-gods, they are even more rare. For those demigods, they can't wait to hold them in their palms every day to watch and experience them, thinking that they can feel a little bit of divinity, and then they are so angry. This ground is full of treasures. Fang Fan licked his lips, then said softly. Fang Fan boy, are you stupid? It's all bone scum with a hammer. Wrong. God bone. This is a divine bone. Wipe. Why didn't I think of it? This piece of divine bone is even comparable to 10,000 high-grade star cores. If the bone of the false god and the bone of the quasi-god are more valuable. Sent. Bai Piao rubbed his hands together, and his whole body became flustered. At this moment, in a few words, the whole person became impetuous. Take off. A wave took off directly. Opportunities, gather in front of you. In just a moment, the mind is taking off. Bai Piao couldn't stay idle at all right now, he just took the bone scum and put it in the storage ring. That speed, sharp to the extreme. Although the expiry date of natural disasters and man-made disasters has not yet expired, Bai Piao did not take it seriously at all. The baby is in front, what's the problem if you fall a few times? As long as baby is okay. Brother Fang Fan, it's going to be okay. Gui Sha licked his lips, and then couldn't help but glance around, his face showing a look of contemplation. He was mainly afraid that something tricky would appear in it. The god bones all over the floor feel weird no matter what. It would be bad if some restrictions in the disaster god's underground palace were touched by picking up these god bones. Although there are some risks, they are really nothing compared to the benefits. If you pick up a piece of this divine bone, it's worth 10,000 high-grade star cores. Do you want to pick it up? Pick up a few more dollars, and you can even get wealth and freedom directly. Do you take the risk? Isn't this much faster than going deep into those primeval forests to hunt monsters and obtain star cores? If by chance, I ran into a quasi-god bone or even a real god bone, it would be even more serious. There is nothing in this world that cannot be risked. If there is, it must not be given enough. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3376. Fang Fan squinted his eyes, and immediately joined the ranks of tidying up the bones. If a person dies in the bird's nest sky, he will not die for thousands of years. Brother Fang Fan is right. Damn it. The baby is right in front of me, let me hold back, it's impossible. It's not that I want to make a fortune, the point is, this is too much. Call. This is really unbearable. This makes all of this, let's take off. It's exciting to watch. Interesting. So humming interesting. One wave, take off. Excited shouts swept over, Zhuoqiuyao blushed, and started the journey of picking up waste. All the 100 people present went all out. Although there are many divine bones on the ground, it is still very fast to seize them at this speed. After a few minutes, it was all picked up. There are almost thousands of divine bones on the ground. Among them, there are the most demigod bones. This thing is worthless. The market price is only 1,800 high-grade star cores. It's nothing. Pseudo-god bones cost hundreds of pieces. This one is not bad. The market price can almost give you 10,000 to 20,000 high-grade star cores. If it is placed in an auction, it is not impossible to bid for 100,000 high-grade star cores. Then there is the quasi-god bone. There are dozens of UN. This is the most valuable. One quasi-god bone starts with 100,000 high-grade star cores. Damn it! Earn blood. Grass. I was the first to pick it up, why did I pick up the least? And all of them are the hottest demigod bones. What the hell, what kind of shit luck? Bai Piao made a comprehensive analysis, and after checking the sacred bone in his storage ring, he immediately started to complain. The natural and man-made disasters released by the Calamity Hammer is just so skinny. As for the rest of the people, everyone has gained something, so they are naturally very satisfied. This wave of harvest can even support them to directly cultivate to the demigod level. In the future, it will be possible to achieve freedom of cultivation resources to a large extent. Of course, most of these bones belong to Fang Fan. Who made the 100-man team basically consist of his heroes and legionnaires. Just don't be too specific. The rest are nothing. Boy Fang Fan, why don't we go back? The harvest this time is not too small, so let's go as far as I can. There are so many god bones at the entrance of this passage, which shows that many demigods, false gods, and quasi-gods have died here. Why did they die here? And who killed them? And why did they come here in such a concentrated way? It's all a mystery. The 9th floor below must be in danger. Take it as soon as you see it, so that you can keep everything. I have harvested enough. Boy Fang Fan, I am a bit flustered. Bai Piao started to retreat. This guy is a very contented person. I like to be greedy to the extreme, but I don't want to put it into action. Fang Fan could clearly feel that Kishizuoki and the others also had some thoughts of retreating. They didn't gain much before, so they still wanted to make a breakthrough, but now they can live well with the god bones in their hands. If this is the case, why continue to take risks? So what if you get more star cores? It's just icing on the cake. But the risk factor is increasing sharply. If you want to go back first. Or wait for me here, if there is any situation, you evacuate immediately. Fang Fan shrugged, then smiled, and said. As for him, he still wanted to continue to stab forward. Opportunity is at hand. Hold on to the moment, and then take off virtually. The rest are nothing. Fang Fan licked his lips, his thoughts gathered here, and the light in his eyes gradually increased. Cough. Then what? Fang Fan boy, I will withdraw first. Bai Piao shrugged, then strode out. Boom. A huge force suddenly struck, and Bai Piao's body suddenly beat back and forth in the passage. The body hit the wall, making loud noises, and then countless ice arrows suddenly appeared around, shooting towards Bai Piao. Cao. Oh shit. Break defense. Why are you so unlucky? Bai Piao's body trembled slightly, even with his super strong defense, he couldn't hold it anymore. At this moment, the eyeballs turned subconsciously, and the black lines on the forehead became more and more. In a few words, my mentality has already collapsed. As for the rest, it's nothing, so let's end it all. Cold. This wave is really cold. This feeling is really not good. God of Disaster Underground Palace, there is no turning back. The 9th floor of the Underground Palace, you can go in, you can't go back. Rumbling. A loud noise came suddenly, and the surrounding atmosphere instantly dropped to freezing point. What does this mean? Is this binding us here? Grass. Can you still play like this? Son of a bitch. Bai Piao covered several ice holes in his chest, couldn't help but rolled his eyes and said. According to his defense, he was actually injured. One can imagine the piercing strength of the frost bolt. Hiss. If it wasn't for brother Bai Piao who threw stones for us to ask the way just now, then the one who was directly shot through at this moment should be us. Goodong. This shouldn't be too scary. Compared to brother Bai Piao, our defensive power is nothing. We just had a brush with death. Guisha glanced forward, and when he spoke, his face suddenly became anxious. At this moment, his eyeballs turned completely, and his expression changed very wonderfully. This wave is really quite fortunate. Almost, no one left. Almost, colder than this. Thinking about this, the sense of anxiety and anxiety deep in my heart is also gathering, it is too real. The more you think about it, the more exciting you become, and the more you think about it, the more you become afraid. This disaster god's underground palace is not a random place. This is going to drive us to our death. I just got so many god bones, I just started to make a fortune, and I haven't gone out for a while. Will I lose everything? Then what's the point of getting so many god bones? It's nothing. If these god bones can't be taken out, they are really worthless, nothing. Bai Piao took a deep breath, and could not help showing a look of urgency on his face at this moment. The faces of the rest of the people were more or less worried. Could it be that this disaster god's underground palace is allowed to enter and not allowed to exit? Isn't this their grave? Invisibly, the wind suddenly rose, and the sense of panic was also gathering. The road ahead is bleak. There is no way back now. There is only one way forward. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3377. The road ahead is bleak. Invisibly, the risk factor is also fully superimposed. I can only rush forward. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes and said calmly. If you wait here, you will surely die. If you sprint forward, there is still a glimmer of hope. Run forward. Call. That's the only way to go. I believe that as long as I follow you, everything will be fine. Chu Ceci blinked, then looked at Fang Fan with a smile. She looked very optimistic at the moment. It's just that there is something wrong with the words. It just feels weird. Sour. This is the case. Let's go. Go in and have a look. If you really encounter any danger, you must listen to my orders at any time. At a critical moment, I can take you into another space. Anyway, your willpower should not choose to resist when the time comes. At that time, there will be some new discoveries. Fang Fan narrowed his eyes and licked his lips as he spoke. Some things, just understand in your heart, no need to say much, just hold on. Sure enough, Brother Fang Fan has already made clear arrangements for the back road. In that case, what do we have to worry about? Anyway, Brother Fang Fan can't deceive us. Suddenly, there is no pressure. Gui Sha smiled, but seemed very optimistic at the moment. Correct. It's better for you to entrust the bones to me for placement. Fang Fan suddenly thought of this, and said directly. Kishizuoki blinked, with a dazed expression on his face. He didn't quite understand what he heard. Bai Piao simply covered his storage ring. No, here you are. This is all my wealth. If it is gone, you will be responsible for me for the rest of your life. Chu Ceci said half-jokingly. There seems to be a different meaning in the words. Listen, something is really not right. Feeling a little swayed? Fang Fan boy, you just fell in love with my god bone. You won't want to kill this envoy later, so that you can inherit the legacy of this envoy. Bai Piao hummed and chirped a few times, then joked aside. Sometimes I make a few jokes, but in fact it's nothing. I understand everything. You don't need to give me all the storage rings, it's too obvious. What I mean is, if we were found with so many divine bones when we left the True God Cave, then we would be the target of public criticism. This is not the situation we wanted at the beginning. Well, what I mean is, temporarily entrust your bones to me to place them. Even if there is any unexpected situation in the future, they will never find any traces of these bones. In this way, we can preserve the divine bone in our hands to the greatest extent. Fang Fan nodded silently, then explained. This. Fang Fan, what do you mean, Guangming Academy will confiscate our god bones? This is the divine bone that we got from a narrow escape, so why should it be searched by them? Besides, the Deputy Palace Master is not this kind of person. You forgot, the Deputy Palace Master is still my uncle. By the way, you are also the Deputy Palace Master's son-in-law. What are you worrying about? Chu Ceci rolled her eyes, and then couldn't help complaining. Hee. If it's just Guangming Academy. At that time, what should we do if we become the thorn in the side of other colleges and universities? Yes, Guangming Academy will do its best to protect us, but if something goes wrong, how should we deal with it? Danger always comes quietly. Sometimes we have to call these realities clear. There must be no carelessness in the slightest. The careless ending is death. Prepare for the worst in advance. It's easy to seize treasures, but if you want to keep them, it may not be so easy. Fang Fan secretly narrowed his eyes, and the gleam in his eyes grew more and more as he spoke. This time the posture is in place, and the whole person becomes smug. Generally speaking, it is probably such a real feeling. Sometimes, it really can't be too idealistic. I didn't expect Brother Fang Fan to have already thought of this level. Wait, it's really too far behind. Brother Fang Fan, I was wrong just now, I actually had other thoughts. Hey, I am so stupid. Brother Fang Fan, you are such a proud son of heaven, how could you like my godly bones? In other words, it is precisely because of the guidance and leadership of Brother Fang Fan that I have the opportunity to touch these divine bones. Otherwise, I would not even be able to enter the gate of the Disaster God's underground palace. I'm confused. Zhuoqiuyao smiled wryly, then shook his head aside and said. After slowly figuring it out, the whole person became much more relaxed. Brother Fang Fan, this is my divine bone. Zhuoqiuyao stopped talking, and then said sincerely. Brother Fang Fan, this is my share. Kisha immediately followed suit. Bai Piao is the most smudged guy, he looks like a miser, at the moment he is clutching his storage ring, with a cowardly expression on his face. Fang Fan looks like, I can count all these god bones clearly and clearly, please don't let me take them away. Cough, you can't guard yourself, I know it in my heart. Boy Fang Fan, look, you can't do this in our relationship, right? Bai Piao's thoughts started again. Nonsense, is really a lot. The more he listened, the black lines on Fang Fan's forehead grew more and more. It's just such a little thing, why talk about it so many times? You are not tired of talking, but I am really tired of listening. Fang Fan stretched out his hand directly, and grabbed the divine bone in Bai Piao's hand. Immediately, Fang Fan no longer hesitated, and directly stepped into the 9th floor of the Calamity God's underground palace. Boom! Rumbling. Bursts of thunder suddenly sounded, and the entire Disaster God's underground palace was trembling. Outside the Calamity God's underground palace, practitioners from various colleges and universities looked at each other, and saw deep fear and uneasiness in each other's eyes. What the hell is going on? It looks like there are many crises. In every aspect, you have to be careful. Danger, suddenly approaching. The 9th floor of the God of Disaster underground palace. Start. Inheritance of the God of Disaster. Now. The will of the God of Disaster. Condensation. Around the Disaster God's underground palace, one after another ethereal sounds began to descend, making it miraculous. Suddenly its sounds don't have a sense of horror. Inexplicably, it is frightening. Although the cultivators gathered around the Disaster God's underground palace had never been in the underground palace, they suddenly became excited at this moment. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3378. This feels very exciting. It's awe-inspiring that they never participated in it, but at least they witnessed it. You can go out and brag in the future. The sound of roaring continued, and the scene was particularly exciting at one point, and it exploded in the surrounding area in an instant. In a few words, it is vividly displayed. Everyone wants to take a good look at what the inheritance of the God of Disaster is. After all, it is the first time they have encountered it. Deep in their hearts, they still have a sense of infinite expectation. All eyes were on it, but they couldn't see it clearly, so they could only stand in front of the bronze gate of the Calamity God's underground palace and move back and forth. At this moment, one by one is moving like ants on a hot pot, looking very impatient. At the same time, the 9th floor of the God of Disaster underground palace. When Fang Fan and others had just penetrated into the 9th floor of the Calamity God's underground palace, the scene here changed instantly. It's become a little different. Glancing at the past, I felt a sense of horror inexplicably. After the ethereal sounds resounded through, the inner space of the 9th floor appeared before Fang Fan and the others. The eyes are bright, and the surroundings are inlaid with various gemstones. Looking at it, there is a special feeling. Raise your head and sweep around, the more exciting you look. Beautiful interior. These should be worth a lot. This God of Disaster will really enjoy it. Using so many beautiful spars to build such a place for myself. If I poach them all, tisk. This trip was not in vain. Bai Piao rubbed his hands, and now he was excited again. This guy never stopped. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Suddenly, a purple flame swirled rapidly around it. Everyone be careful. Ready to evacuate at any time. Fang Fan snorted secretly, then said coldly. Fang Fan felt the crisis. The situation is a bit bad. From the purple flame, Fang Fan felt extremely strong energy. The purple flame spun about 10 times in the Disaster God's underground palace, and then rushed straight towards Fang Fan's eyebrows. Is this the legendary inheritance of the God of Disaster? Look at the meaning, this God of Disaster inheritance independently chose Brother Fang Fan. For it. That's true. Brother Fang Fan was able to make the hammer of the God of Disaster recognize its owner, so it's understandable to get the inheritance of the God of Disaster. Why? Brother Fang Fan is still amazing, tisk, I don't admire it, it's really not good, anyway, he is very strong. Zhuoqiu Yao's eyes lit up, and then he sighed deeply, the smiles on his face gradually increased. At this moment, there is only envy, but no jealousy. Zhou Qiuyao still had a clear understanding of himself, and he knew that he could not bear this weird inheritance of the God of Disaster. If Fang Fan can bear the inheritance of the Disaster God, he will become stronger to some extent. With his relationship with Fang Fan, he will naturally feel happier. The thoughts gathered here, and the smiles on the face suddenly increased. Indeed, that's the case. G. Good. What a great seedling. It's still of Shura blood. The foundation is so solid. Huh? Actually, I have communicated with several true gods. It seems that there is a lot of luck. I have waited for thousands of years, and finally got my wish. After devouring your soul, this body will belong to me. G. Suddenly, the purple flame gathered between Fang Fan's eyebrows suddenly began to speak out. And the words inside and outside the words are quite weird. This is too different from what I expected. Good guy, what a treacherous person. If you are a little careless, wouldn't it be better to just be colder than this? The situation is ever changing. The situation is crushed in an instant. Nothing. Problem occurs. This is a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy from beginning to end. The purpose of setting up the level of the 9-story Disaster God's underground palace before is to screen out practitioners with solid foundations, so that they can be taken away by this ghost. Fang Fan is in danger. The situation is not good. Chu Ceci took a deep breath and immediately came to his senses. While talking at the moment, the nervousness on his face was beyond words. The situation is also somewhat different from what was imagined. What is the inheritance of the God of Disaster? It is clearly the conspiracy of the God of Disaster. After Chu Ceci finished speaking, Gui Sha Bai Biao and others gathered around Fang Fan nervously, fearing that Fang Fan would be surprised in the slightest. This situation is wrong. If you are not careful, it will be cold. Oops. Very bad. It's just that at this moment, Fang Fan suddenly showed a treacherous smile on his face. It's over. What the hell, can't it be that you have successfully seized the house? Look at Fang Fan's expression, his smile is really sinister. I'll go, it's just a little bit of work. Fang Fan, why, how did you get taken away? Hey, I didn't leave a few words before I left. How will your inheritance be distributed? No, our god bones are still on you. Fang Fan boy, you can't have an accident. Bai Biao yelled a few words, but continued to talk nonsense as usual. If the purple flame attacked him in other ways, it might still work. Take home. So stupid. Turn on the automatic antivirus mode. Ding. The automatic antivirus mode is on. Ding. A foreign object has been detected in the host sea of consciousness, and it is fully disinfecting and cleaning up. Ding. Cleaning up, because the foreign object is a bit difficult to deal with, it is expected to take 5 minutes. A system prompt sounded in his mind, and Fang Fan remained calm from beginning to end. Everything is the way it is, nothing is. At this point, what else is there to worry about? There is a spiritual consciousness hidden in the purple flame, and at this moment, this spiritual consciousness can't help but start roaring crazily. Because he found out that the plan to seize the house hadn't started yet, he was countered. What the hell? How could there be such a big sun in the sea of consciousness? Ah. Painful. So painful. What the hell is this? Asshole. Asshole to the extreme. Get out. Get out. Go away. I am the god of doom. I am the god of doom. I am the strongest subordinate god under the god of calamity. Damn it. Damn god of calamity, sealed me for thousands of years. Now I finally found a physical body, why did I have to go through all this? Ah! The purple flame roared heart-piercingly in Fang Fan's sea of consciousness, and the sound was transmitted directly through Fang Fan's body. Hearing it in his ears, he was inexplicably shocked. What is this operation? I really don't understand. There were many crises before, why has the situation changed now? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3379. A sense of treachery strikes. The God of Disaster? The God of Disaster belongs to God. For it. The consciousness of the God of Disaster seems to be quite painful. Who says no, who knows what happened? Brother Fang Fan, it's too strong. Is this suppressing the true God? Brother Fang Fan is awesome. Gui Sha and the others looked at each other, and then couldn't help but sighed. The more you talk, the more excited you are, and the more you talk, the more surging. Slowly, he fell into infinite contemplation. Awesome class, how can I say a hammer when I feel this way? Too strong. The strongest existence, no one can match it. It's just basic. Look at all of you who don't know each other. Damn it. I was pretended by this kid again. Why? It made me really worried for a while just now. One piece of sincerity feeds the dog. Bai Piao shrugged, and then couldn't help complaining from the side. After thinking about it, isn't that the case? Definitely don't want to. At this moment, Fang Fan still looked indifferent. At this moment, the spiritual power is focused in the sea of consciousness. At this moment, the purple flame containing the so-called God of Viewer's consciousness is getting smaller and dimmer. Under the scorching sun in Fang Fan's sea of consciousness, he began to breathe. Everything looks the best. Look at it, very appropriate and very real. At the beginning, the consciousness of the God of Viewer in the purple flame seemed full of energy, but as a few minutes passed, he rapidly became weak. If he can't escape from Fang Fan's sea of consciousness at this moment, he will definitely die. Let me go, let me go. This seat will give you great benefits. I won't provoke you, my little ancestor, I will find other people to seize the house. I know many secrets of God's domain. I once placed treasures in many places in God's domain, I will tell you the address. Also, if you kill this seat, then you will be a God's lair. At that time, you will definitely cause karma, which will not be good for your future. I advise you to take care of yourself and stop being obsessed with it. If we have the opportunity to cooperate well, there are still opportunities, and we can still take off. Damn bastard! How can you do this? You son of a bitch! Get lost! Shouts gradually increased, and the desire to complain became extremely strong. The God of Viewer's consciousness slowly succumbed, and this time, he really succumbed. He's going to die, he's really going to die. If this ray of consciousness is terminated, this life is hopeless. Is the miserable life about to begin? No. Not like this, he is a God. He is the supreme true God. He is the number one subordinate God under the God of calamity. The God of Viewer trembled, his lips, blood, and tears were gathering at this moment. But no matter what he said, Fang Fan never cared. How can this be good? It's getting cold, it's really getting cold. During the battle of the gods, his physical body collapsed, and the envoys of the gods were almost completely destroyed. Now there is only such a crippled soul. After millions of years of painstaking cultivation, in the end, have you cultivated loneliness? The consciousness of the God of Viewer was rushing, he looked desperately at the huge scorching sun above his head, and he split open. I am willing to sign a God-slave contract with you. I volunteer to be your divine slave. Let me die. The consciousness of God of Viewer is trembling. This is the best solution he can think of so far. At this moment, the sense of panic in my heart is gathering, and the whole person is instantly blinded. The brain was also shaking little by little, and the sound of breathing became inexplicably rapid. Mentality, the blood collapsed so far. I can't explain clearly in a few words, Liang Lianjiao is practicing to the end. So difficult. God-slave contract. Fang Fan was taken aback secretly, looking a little dazed. Is this reliable? If it is the Rage God's contract, it's okay. After all, it has been practiced many times before, but I don't know if the Rage God's contract has any binding force on this true God. But Rage God's contract can only be refreshed once a month, and just before that, Fang Fan had already used it to recruit Keel Whale Hate under his command. In other words, Rage God's contract was also directly passed. I'm really in too much pain. Please. Please don't torture me like this again. I really can't take it anymore. Kill me. You can just kill me directly. But don't torture me. No. You can't kill me, I don't want to die, I don't want to die yet. Alive, I want to live. There is hope only when you live, and you are really dead if you die. I have endured for tens of millions of years, and I can't have nothing. Roar. The vibrating frequency of God of Viewer's consciousness gradually increased, and at this moment, the desire to survive was very strong in his heart. The pain is completely gathered. Mentality, blood collapse here. Ding. The God-slave contract only exists in God's domain, and it needs to be signed at the cost of one of the true gods splitting the soul. If it is successfully signed, you can control the soul of the god slave at will, anytime, anywhere. But there is a flaw in the god-slave contract, that is, both parties to the contract must be true gods. If not, the god-slave can rebel against the master at any time. True gods are qualified to own god-slaves. The introduction was simple, but Fang Fan understood it. In all respects, that's probably what it means. Fang Fan secretly squinted his eyes, and the eyeball subconsciously rolled around. At this moment, the expression on his face was very real. It's interesting. I was almost fooled by this guy just now. The god-slave contract is based on the fact that both parties are true gods. If not, god-slave can rebel at any time. At that time, if the god-lord is not the body of the true god, he will only be oppressed to death. The gap between true gods and ordinary practitioners is still very large. System, can I sign this god-slave contract? After all, I am Rage God. Fang Fan's eyes lit up, it seemed that a bug could be stuck. The system falls silent. After a while, the system tone came. Ding. It is theoretically possible. However, because the system is currently only a virtual wild god, it can only sign a god-slave contract with some weaker gods. If not, it is very likely that there will be backlash. System reminders are still very necessary. It's basically clear now. It is wonderful to be able to sign a slave contract with a true god of weaker divine power. One must know that the god of calamity in front of him has only a wisp of soul left long ago. How can he still have divine power? God is a hammer, it's not bad to linger on. In this way, this god-slave contract can be signed. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3380. How to say. Make a real god a god-slave, this feeling is okay. Although it seems that this god is very good at the moment, but who knows what will happen in the future. It's almost a little bit of training, and it's a help to raise a former true god from a cub state to go to God's domain in the future. Fang Fan fumbled for his chin, thinking to himself, the gleam in his eyes grew more and more. The more I think about it, the more I feel that this is indeed the case. In all aspects, I still understand something in my heart. You can sign a god-slave contract. Fang Fan groaned, and then transmitted his willpower to the sea of consciousness. Call. Hoo. CAO. I almost died. Oh shit. Exciting, so humming exciting. The group of purple flames transformed by the god of viewer has become weak to the extreme at this moment. If Fang Fan had agreed later, he might have been killed. That's really fast. After Fang Fan gave the order, the system silently shut down the self-antivirus program, and then this guy came back to life. But now he is as weak as a mosquito, and he can breathe to death with a single slap. Sign the god-slave contract quickly, don't ink. Otherwise, kill without mercy. Fang Fan urged directly. Now he doesn't have much patience. At this moment, the combat power around him was surging, and his eyes gradually became sharper. In a few words, it has already followed the all-round surge. Yes, immediately sign. The purple fireworks where the soul of the god of viewer was located flickered up and down quickly, and the god was under the eaves. How could he not bow his head? That's it? The rest are nothing. Anyway, it's good to save my life now. I don't care about the others, anyway, it doesn't matter anymore, it's nothing. Tianxing, the god of viewer, voluntarily split the soul and become a slave of God. Crack. Heart-piercing roars swept over, and the purple fireworks where the god of viewer Tianxing was located were cut off part of it, and then floated to Fang Fan's palm. Fang Fan squinted his eyes, looked at the ball of fireworks in the palm of his hand, with a smile on his face. Everything is done. Accepting a real god as a god slave feels pretty good. At this moment, Bai Piao and others who were standing aside were already impatient. They were neither blind nor stupid, they just looked at all this so ignorantly at this moment, their eyes slowly became a little erratic. It feels very real. Nothing. Did I be stupid just now? What the hell did I hear? I actually heard that the god of Viewer recognized his master. Cao, what kind of dream is this? It's too weird. While talking, Bai Piao's expression gradually changed. This is not a dream. No dream is so real. Real. Everything is true. Fang Fan boy, take off again. Received a god slave. The god of Viewer, that is the true god. Generally speaking, the true god is the most supreme existence, and countless people release their loyalty in exchange for the mercy and ideas of the true god. True God is an existence that is beyond reach. But now Fang Fan is so arrogant that he takes the true God as his slave. Brother Fang Fan, my role model. My idol. I don't want to say anything anymore, awesome class. Kisha smiled bitterly, then shrugged and said, now he is a little numb from the stimulation. Brother Fang Fan is awesome. However, my generation is uneducated. Just one sentence, I can walk the world. In my heart now, besides me, Cao is still me. I die. Really die. Compared to Brother Fang Fan, we are really all little trash, what can we compare to? Sigh with a sigh, just hang on. It's such a lucky thing to get to know Brother Fang Fan in this life. Zhou Chuyao licked his lips, his expression gradually became numb. There seemed to be stars twinkling in Chu Ceci's beautiful eyes. This man is so outstanding. Still as confident and surging as ever. There is nothing he can't do. Unfortunately. He is Xiangfei's man. Why? As a cousin, I can't compete with my cousin. Speaking of which, I noticed him when he first entered the school. When I first met him, I was still on the first floor of the tower of the school. At that time, I blocked him directly downstairs and invited him to join the Guangming Society. It's just that this guy chose Tiandao Club at that time. But after all, Fang Fan was the one I knew first, so I don't count as a fight with concubine Xiang. Oh, how could I be like this? Thoughts are all messed up. Chu Ceci. Do you still look like a lady? How can you be so rushed? Woo, it's all because this bastard is so good. Chu Ceci gritted her teeth, then stamped her feet and gritted her teeth. Complex thinking, too complex. Almost, colder than this. Fortunately, I finally stopped the car. Otherwise, you don't know what's going to happen. At this moment, Tianxing, the god of Viewer, hides his last ray of soul in the purple fireworks, and there is a hint of ruthlessness in his eyes. Sure enough, I was deceived. Stupid guy, do you really think that the seat will treat you as a god slave? This seat is just a bitter trick. The future of signing the god-slave contract is that both parties are true gods. You are not a true god, and you still try to control me. Although I paid a price at this moment, at least I saved this life. If there is life, there is hope. When the right time comes, I can directly counterattack the master. By that time, such a good body will still belong to me. Tianxing, the god of Viewer, was immediately excited. Thinking secretly in my heart, the whole person suddenly became smug. Surging, but sincere. He thinks he has earned it with blood, but Fang Fan will never be ashamed. Long before that, Fang Fan predicted this guy's prediction. Anyway, the identity of this god-slave is established, and it cannot be changed anyway. Fang Fan stretched, feeling relaxed. You created this disaster god's underground palace. So the so-called disaster god inheritance on the 9th floor is also fake. Fang Fan pondered for a while, and then asked directly. For it. This, can't be said to be fake. Actually, God of Calamity placed me here in the first place to let me test the ability of the passers-by. If I can pass this level, I will be able to accept the inheritance of God of Disaster. Master, does the Master want to accept the inheritance of this disaster god? Tien seeing, the god of Deer's eyes lit up, and then asked expectantly. In his eyes, Fang Fan is the best target to take over. The stronger Fang Fan is now, the more comfortable it will be when he takes over.